All right, so welcome back to 7.2, page 2, and go ahead and pause the video, do your classwork. We're not going to do the activity on decimal arrays. Then after your classwork, go ahead and read about decimal division, and then come back and we'll do or decimal, ooh, that should say multiplication, shouldn't it? We'll do decimal multiplication when you come back. Okay, welcome back. And hopefully you understood the rules on decimal multiplication. So when we multiply these things, they ask us to estimate it first. So let's do a little better job estimating this time. I'm going to say that this is about 55, right? So our estimate, let's go over here and do our estimate. So it's approximately 55 times, and 1.2 is about 1. So I'm going to give an estimate of 55. So we're going to write 54.7 and then 1.2. And we're multiplying. So here it said, ignore the decimal points. We'll do them last. So we say 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 times 5 is 10. I used that carry word again. Whoops. Okay, what do we do here? When we go to the next place, we put in that placeholder. Remember, that's because this is really in the tens place. Okay, so we want the number to reflect that. Okay, 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so we've got everything lined up and we're adding. So 4 there. 16 here. We've got a exchange and we've got a 5 here. And then a 6. Okay, so when we look at that, we know 55, 6,564, it's not right. What do we have to do? Well, we count over our decimal places. 1 here, 2. So we're going to go 1, 2 there. Okay, that's all there is to it. Then we get 65.64. That looks better, more like our estimate. Okay, and that is the proper answer. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try your classwork. All right, so now we're on to decimal division, which we've done a little bit of that already. So let's try this example. We're supposed to estimate first. So let's see what we get when we estimate. Okay, so I'm going to say that's about 23. And what are we dividing by? About 2. So now I kind of wish I would have done it a little differently, but you know, if you say it was 22, it would be 11. If it were 24, it'd be 12. So 11.5 is approximately the estimate. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to say 22.5 divided by 1.8. Okay, so remember what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to move this decimal point over, and when you move that one over, you've got to move this one over. Okay, so we really are saying 18 into 225. All right, let's try. 18 does not go into 2. 18 does go into 22 once. So when we subtract there, we're going to get 4. And then we're going to bring down the 5. 18 goes into 45. How many times? Well, let's go ahead and figure out over here. Let's try, what is 3? Well, 7, not 7, 24. So 4 and 2 gives us 54. Well, that's too big. So it must be 18 times 2, which is 6 and 1, 36. Okay, so let's do that. Put a 2 there and a 36. Then we subtract there. What are we going to get? Well, that turns into a 3. That turns into 15. So that is 9. We're not done. Let's put a decimal point and a 0. Make sure you bring the decimal point up. Okay, so now we're doing 18 into 90. Is that 5? I think so. 18 times 5 is 0 and 4. Sure enough, it's 90. Okay. So that's our answer. 12.5 is our answer. So we would say 22.5 divided by 1.8. 22.5 divided by 1.8 equals 12.5. Okay, compare it to your estimate. Very close here, 11.5 and 12.5. Okay, do your classwork, and then that finishes section 7.2.